Today on Playing the Field, I'm Maria Serrao. We are camping. That's right, this guy right here, Nick Hamilton from
Nightcast Media.
The one and only. We are at Cowboys camp today, but we've been to Rams and Chargers. We've been camping all over Southern California, and we have been spending a lot of time in these camps, the Rams, the Chargers, and today we're actually sitting right in front of the Dallas Cowboys. They're out there practicing, and their camp is winding down here in Oxnard, California. Always have fans out here. Of course, Jerry Jones has been coming out here forever, and this has been a very interesting camp to say the least.
I don't even know if interesting is the right word. When you look at everything that is going on, there's never a dull moment when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. No matter what time of the year it is, it's always going to be some type of drama, some type of cliffhanger. I feel like it's a nonstop reality show that we just can't turn off.
It is a nonstop reality show, and this year is really, it's no different because CeeDee Lamb is not here. He's not been in camp, and he wants a contract, and here we go, Aaron Donald 2.0 all over again.
Yeah, he's standing 10 toes down on principle because he is missing out on about $40,000 a day while not being here in Cowboys camp. But again, he's standing on principle. He's 10 toes down on it. He's not wavering. I know there were talks with his camp and Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. They came to an agreement of $33 million, but again, that was not enough because CeeDee Lamb says, yeah, he wants to be the highest paid player. And Justin Jefferson right now is getting $35 million per year on a 4-year deal. That's worth $140 million. So he wants more than $35 million.
So give me your take. Is he worth more money than Justin Jefferson is?
No, and the reason why that is because he's not the best wide receiver. The last 3 years, Justin Jefferson has been the best wide receiver in the game.
NFL, right?
CeeDee Lamb could be second or third, and I understand he wants to be paid top dollar because he is the best wide receiver on this team known as the Dallas Cowboys. So I totally get it. But listen, man, you have to be realistic and you have to understand it. What's my real value? Because we all can say, hey, I'm worth this much. But in reality, how much am I going to get?
What is that old expression, you're worth as much as someone's willing to pay you? Is that
and what you're willing to negotiate.
Yes, exactly.
Period.
Exactly. You know, he is not the only one, though, this year that has contract issues because Mike McCarthy is on the end of his contract as the head coach, and Dak Prescott as well.
Ooh, that seat is hot for Mike McCarthy. I tell you, I'm glad my name is not Mike McCarthy because this is the year he has to get it done, and I don't know if Jerry's going to extend him. You and I talked about that before. I think the only way he does get extended is if he makes an NFC Championship appearance. Even if he wins or loses, I think Jerry would bring him back for another couple of years. As far as Dak Prescott is concerned, I don't see Dak Prescott not being in a Dallas Cowboy uniform after this year. I even talked to Michael Irvin about that.
Right.
And he expressed a similar sentiment. So I think when you look at Dak Prescott, I think Jerry wants to play it out. I think Jerry is trying to figure out what he wants to do, how he wants to do it.
Right.
And again, it's his team, so he has every right to do it. And plus, what fun and controversy is going to be in it if you just hurry up and sign that? Come on now, y'all ain't going to follow along. You ain't going to pay attention. I know I'm not, so why not keep the drama going?
You know what's interesting, too, is Dak doesn't feed into it. Like he said, he's like, I don't listen to the noise, and I really don't think that he does. He does his own thing. It's time to get back to the promised land. That's what I have to say about that.
I mean, they haven't won a championship since All Eyes on Me came out.
It's been a really, really long time. So
that was 1996. Just saying.
Talking about the fact that we don't have CeeDee Lamb here in camp, we do have Brandon Cooks. We've got some, some wide receivers out here, some young guys, but you really can't replace a CeeDee Lamb.
Not at all. And the thing about it is you're not going to be able to get it done just with Brandon Cooks with his veteran presence as well.
It helps the young guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. But I don't think that's not enough, especially in that competitive NFC East division where you have the Philadelphia Eagles who have signed all 3 of their top guys. And they found a way to sign them. But mysteriously, all of a sudden, they can't find a way to sign one of their most prominent wide receivers in CeeDee Lamb. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we're still talking about Dak Prescott not getting an extension. That's mind-boggling to me.
It is. It's mind-boggling, but you know, this is the game, and you and I have had this conversation about Jerry Jones before. He likes having his name out there.
Jerry.
And so the longer that these things kind of go on, I think that it just kind of plays into what he likes to do. And that's just keeping the drama going.
Again, it is a reality show, and I swear Hard Knocks should be covering, instead of them covering certain teams this year, Hard Knocks should have covered the Dallas Cowboys, because that was epic television.
They could just cover them every year, really, because there's always something going on.
They need their own show. Matter of fact, they need their own streaming channel. That's what they need.
Well, they do have the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. That is an excellent show, so if you haven't seen that, please look it up. It's a great show, and it is on all year this year, so
yeah,
make sure you tune in.
In addition to that, I want to see a streaming channel of the Dallas Cowboys inside and out, because the comedy and the scripts basically write themselves.
They do. You just can't make it up, that's for sure. You know, you and I have also talked about the fact that we've seen 2 preseason games now, and the Cowboys, one of the teams, along with the Rams and the Chargers, that they don't really play their starters in the preseason. And before we jump to the Chargers and the Rams, I want to talk about that for a minute, because I get it. I understand why Sean McVay, and he was really one of the first ones to do it and say, not playing my starters in the preseason. I don't want the guys to get hurt. But we did recently see Super Bowl winning Patrick Mahomes. He played for a quarter on Sunday or Saturday, whatever day that game was. And I'm beginning to think that, you know, it might be to their benefit to play for a quarter just to get things going for the season.
No, I mean, you saw Patrick Mahomes, like you said, do it. I saw C.J. Stroud do it with the Houston Texans for a spell. I think there's several other quarterbacks that will benefit from that. I think when you look at, especially when you look at that grueling 17-game season,
it's a long season.
Yes, and it is. And on top of that, you got to find your rhythm. You got to find the comfort level of what you need to do. And I understand playing the rookies or the second string or the third stringers, because they got to get some reps as well.
Right.
But I think ultimately your starters are going to be the ones out there. It's not enough just to get it in practice. Again, I've never played a down in the NFL, so who am I to say that? But at the same time, just looking from...
That's why we're here.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I mean, from outside looking in, and I know they put a lot of wear and tear on their body, especially the older you get. Obviously, Matthew Stafford is 36 years old, so as you mentioned, Sean McVay, I get that. But at the same time, look how long it takes for guys like that to get back in the rhythm, to find their timing, to find those schemes. And to me, I think it could be beneficial, even if they played a quarter, even if they played a few series.
Yes. And jumping into the Los Angeles Rams, we did see the joint practice with the Chargers and with the Dallas Cowboys. And one thing that head coach Sean McVay said is because he doesn't play his starters in the preseason, and that's when we had a chance to see Matthew Stafford in action. We get to see Jimmy G. I guess this year, we didn't talk about that yet. So the Rams have Matthew Stafford #1, Jimmy G #2, and the third one
Stetson Bennett,
Stetson
your favorite.
Bennett. That's right. We've only seen Stetson Bennett in the preseason games, but we have seen, again, Matthew Stafford and Jimmy G in practices and in the joint practice. And if we didn't have those, the starters really get no reps at all, which is a little bit dangerous.
I mean, listen, I understand, as I said earlier, I understand about Matthew Stafford not competing in the preseason, but not to see Jimmy G, and then listen, I have not been impressed at all by Stetson Bennett. He's been exactly what I thought he was going to be in the NFL. Extra regular average at best. And he's been below expectations. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I think he's a career journeyman if he does stay in the NFL, because he just doesn't have it. You know, some guys that have it, and he's just not one of those guys that has it. He was fantastic in college at the University of Georgia under Kirby Smart.
But some guys don't make that jump to the pros. It's a different game.
It is. The speed is different. The schemes are different. And the level of competition is on a total different level. And the thing about it is, you have to be ultra focused. And any rookies that I've talked to, no matter what team they play for, they have to have an ultra focus to the point where, because if you miss one day, if you miss one play, if you miss one practice, you're already behind. So to me, I think it would be. I don't know how long we're going to see Stetson Bennett on the Rams. If they do keep him, I would not be surprised if they put him on the practice squad at some point.
Maybe on the practice squad, but we have one more preseason game, so I guess we'll see him one more game.
But maybe you need to cut it.
Well, we'll see what happens. The first 2 weeks of the season for the Rams, Jimmy G is on a suspension, so he will not be available. Right now, Matthew Stafford is dealing with, all we really know is a hamstring thing. Sean McVay is saying it's not too serious, but because it's a hamstring thing, we still have to look at that and say, what does that mean? Can he get through 2 games without needing somebody else to come in and help out?
Here's the problem with that. Hamstrings are tricky and funny. We cover the NBA. You remember the days when Chris Paul used to have those hamstrings?
Hamstring things,
and Chris Paul, sometimes it would flare up. Sometimes he would be fine on game day and he can go out there and compete at a high level. Some days he gets out there, goes through pregame warm-ups and say, I can't go.
Right.
So those hamstring type of injuries are very, very tricky.
Yes.
We don't know this close to week 1 as they face the Detroit Lions on the road on Sunday Night Football on NBC. That's going to be a major game, obviously a rematch from the playoff game that they faced each other in the first round last season. So I think if you're the Los Angeles Rams, I don't think you can play with that, especially if I think they don't call anyone if Jimmy G doesn't have that 2-game suspension.
Right.
But the fact that he does and you're left with Stetson Bennett.
You might be getting a guy off the couch real soon. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to call Ryan Tannehill right now.
But, you know, on a positive note, I have to say that the running backs look fantastic for the Rams. Kyren Williams and Quorum look great. And you know Sean McVay loves that tandem running back combination. So I think they're going to be spectacular. And their wide receivers, I mean, what a great problem to have. Right?
No, it is great. I mean, when I talk about Kyren Williams, who's absolutely been an absolute flat-out stud. And if he can absolutely stay healthy.
Right.
I talked to a veteran running back that gave me a great story about Kyren Williams over the course of the offseason. And I'm telling you, Kyren Williams has his head on straight.
He's a real deal.
He knows how to approach this game. And like I said, he's one of those guys that he can be a 1,000-yard rusher.
He's a find for sure. Absolutely.
When you look at the wide receivers, obviously we know how great Puka Nacua is. My question is, how's Puka Nacua going to rise in the second year of this, of this contract? Because obviously rookie year, there's not a lot of film on you.
No.
Now you got plenty of film on him. How does he adjust? And that's something I even talked about Sean McVay with, is like, how does he adjust? What conversations have you had to get him prepared for a guy of his caliber? Because you know everybody's going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him. Does Cooper Kupp come back, and what does he have to prove to come back in this year?
Right.
When you look at Denard Robinson's second year in this system, who I think is going to be slept on quite a bit. Hit the alarm clock because they sleeping.
And you know what's interesting too is Sean McVay told us that Puka Nacua has been practically living with Cooper Kupp. I don't know how his family feels about that, but
in the pool house.
Yeah, he's the pool boy now. In the off season, they've been together 24/7, and they are like this. I wonder if he sits in on those film studies with Matthew Stafford now, and hey, maybe maybe it's a foursome in there. Maybe Jimmy and Matthew and Cooper and Puka are all together now.
I think Jimmy needs his own film session the way he's played in the last couple of years. But anyway, I think those two definitely have had a great connection. You can see it off. You can see what they've done off the field. That's translated on the field, even during training camp. You know, Puka Nacua is just a special wide receiver. Like, props to Les Snead in that scouting department, because
Les Snead.
5th round pick. And listen, Puka Nacua was not a slouch. People thought he was going to be a slouch, but if you watched his tape in college, that was an absolute steal. The fact that he fell to the 5th round is still a head scratcher to me.
Yeah, and I love last year when he was actually in there to block. He said he loved that almost as much as catching the ball. And you know that's a gamer when somebody says that. They'd rather block, you know? That's great. That's awesome. I think the biggest question for the Rams right now is the offensive line. There have been some injuries, and I think that's going to be the biggest question mark for them. Do they go out and maybe even, you know, try to add somebody once players are getting cut maybe? And Les Snead might play the shell game with that.
He absolutely could. And the thing about it is that O-line is more up and down than the stock exchange.
It really
so you
is,
don't know what
now.
you're going to get as far as health-wise. And it is ironic because there are a few teams that have a similar problem. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you look at other teams that have that similar problem, but they don't have as bad of a problem, and I'm talking about the Rams O-line, as other teams have either. The thing about it is, like you said, does Les Snead go out and get somebody that gets cut or gets put on waivers or what have you? I think that might be a wise choice depending on if it fits the scheme that's going to be the most beneficial to keeping Matthew Stafford upright and getting the ball off. That's going to be key, because without that O-line, it's going to be a long season, ladies and gentlemen.
It's going to be a long 18 weeks, that's for sure. How much fun was it to see Coach Aubrey Pleasant as the head coach last week against the Chargers? He did a great job. Sean McVay sat up in the booth, and he said that he wanted to give him an opportunity to be the head coach. He got the game ball. And you know what, though? I would have paid money to sit in the booth with Sean McVay, because you know He was going nuts up there. He had to.
I'd have paid money and took a drink with him. Me and Sean McVay, we probably took a couple shots during that time because I really want to know what he was thinking, what he was going through. And the thing about Sean McVay, I got to give a lot of credit to Sean McVay. I think a lot of people kind of glossed over this. Is the fact that he gave Aubrey Pleasant an opportunity.
He did,
and he got him an opportunity to showcase on film
what he could
if
do.
he gets an opportunity to be a head coach in this league. We all know how difficult it is for black head coaches to get opportunities in this league.
Right.
Sean McVay made sure that that's the film that he needs to get over, and thank God he was able to win that particular game in the preseason. That is a guy that you want. I mean, we've seen Aubrey Pleasant for years. His passion, his dedication, the players love him. He bigs them up. He also disciplines them when they need it. But he's a very balanced guy. You never see him too high. You never see him too low. But he's very focused on his job. He does a great job with those guys in the locker room. They have the ultimate respect for him. I think they'll play through a wall for him. So when you see a guy like Aubrey Pleasant, I was so thrilled. And again, props to Sean McVay and that coaching staff for allowing that opportunity. And I think I wish other coaches would follow in some of those similar footsteps to give these guys an opportunity, whether it be coordinators or whoever, to have an opportunity to say, hey, one day you could become a head coach in this league.
Absolutely. And I think the great thing about Sean McVay and Aubrey Pleasant, we saw it in Raheem Morris, is they're great communicators. They really know how to get their message across. And over the summer, in fact, on the last show, I had an opportunity to go with the Rams. They had a camp for high school coaches, and they gave of their time. I had a long talk with Aubrey Pleasant, and it was so interesting how important that they feel that next generation of coaches, women, younger people, older people that really want to move up in coaching. And just the fact that they gave of their time for an entire day was amazing. So this is the culture of the Los Angeles Rams, so props to them for sure.
Wonderful organization.
The very last team that we went camping with was the Los Angeles Chargers, and the big story there has been the health of their quarterback, Justin Herbert, who has plantar fascia. That's a huge basketball injury. We've always heard that for years about the basketball players. It's basically, I asked somebody once and they said, your feet are sore. So they're so sore that you have to keep them in a boot. He had one boot on, and he is really not practicing the preseason.
No UGG boots, no nothing. No Timberland boots.
Yeah.
A regular boot.
Yep.
And that's going to be crucial because those type of injuries can flare up at any time. As we talked about the hamstring situation, when I've talked to orthopedic surgeons and a couple of doctors just about trying to understand, like you, trying to understand what does that entail, like what does that really mean? It's something that can happen at any time. If you push off wrong, if you move side to side wrong, if you move forward wrong, it could flare up at any time. So that's something that the Chargers not only have to be concerned about right now, but be concerned about as the season continues to go through. And as the season progresses, it's going to be even more grueling when you're facing other teams, especially within that division. So I think if you're the Los Angeles Chargers, do you rush Justin Herbert week one, even though it's a division opponent?
I don't think you can rush him. At the same time, they don't really have very good options at the backup position. So I think that Herbert needs to play. What's really interesting to me, though, is the big story would have been the fact that Jim Harbaugh is now their head coach.
So imagine Jim Harbaugh coming off winning a national championship at his alma mater at Michigan, setting the NCAA world on fire. They get hit with so many sanctions. He's already gone. He doesn't care. He's on to the next thing with the Los Angeles Chargers. Left Coach Moore with the mess to clean up. And then also, when you look at what he's going to institute, brought some guys from Michigan on his coaching staff. Then, guess what? Who the hell is Justin Herbert going to throw to? You got rid of one of his favorite targets in Keenan Allen. You got rid of Gerald Everett. Obviously, the running back situation has changed as well. So when you look at that, it's not so much, we know what Justin Herbert is capable of, especially with Jim Harbaugh being his head coach. But who the hell is he going to go to? Because listen,
it's a mystery.
It is. It's the back of a milk carton. Have you seen this person? Because Quentin Johnston, as I've said time and time again, couldn't catch a cold if it sneezed in his face. So where's the help gonna come from? Because the damn sure ain't gonna come from above.
He's gonna have to do better. That's for sure.
Who?
Quentin Johnston.
You looking at a miracle here? Because I don't see it.
Now they also have a rookie in Brendan Rice, who just happens to be the son of legendary wide receiver, Jerry Rice. And I do have to say that when we walked by him the other day at camp, I about fell over because I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, okay, all right, Jerry Rice is here today.
I think Brandon Rice has potential. I watched him a couple years at USC by covering USC when he was with Caleb Williams.
Right.
I think he does have some potential. I think he does, and he continues to work extremely hard.
He does.
And then I think you have Josh Palmer as well, another wide receiver who I think is decent. I think who can catch the ball as well.
Yep.
But also that's not going to be enough. I think you have to also be concerned about the health of the running back core because these are guys that have been known to be injury prone. Can we count on J.K. Dobbins and company to stay healthy the entire season? My answer is no. I think at some point we're going to see them get injured because that's unfortunately just been the pattern of things. And I wish they stay healthy because I like these two running backs. I think they are extremely talented. But damn it, you got it. The best ability is availability. And if you can't stay healthy, you're not available.
That, and then that. You know, it's also on the positive side. On the positive side here, Derwin James is amazing. And they have left their defense intact. We saw that against the Rams in the scrimmage that they had. I mean, they were tipping balls. They were doing great. And you've got Khalil Mack. You've got Joey Bosa. They could come out. I know, and they're a little bit on the older side, but the defense could be the bright spot for the Chargers.
Let me say this, and I saw Sean Merriman a few days ago and messed with him. I said, hey, Sean, you need to get back out there, man. They need you bad. He's like, nah, man, the defense is good. They good. They good. I was like, I don't know about all that.
He's not coming back. He's not coming back.
Listen, he would be lights out if he did come back.
He's not coming
He's still
back.
in great shape. But I look at the secondary. You talked about Derwin James Jr. You talked about Asante Samuel Jr. I think those two guys are staying healthy.
I agree.
Those guys are a force to be reckoned with in that secondary. I think, as I've always said, I think Derwin James is a special talent. His biggest thing is just staying healthy and staying available because this is a guy that can beat you inside and out. He reads the field absolutely phenomenal. When you look at that, he changes the dynamic when his presence is on the field. He changes the defense's presence dynamically.
They have some guys that are coming up that will be a wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I love Joe Alt. I think Joe Alt was a great pick. I think he has the potential, staying healthy and continuing to learn from guys. He could be another Joe Thomas. I mean, at the end of his career, I think this kid is special. I think they knew what they were getting when they were able to draft this kid the way they were. There was some uncertainty on draft day. Will they be able to draft Joe Alt because would he still be available at the time that the Chargers were able to draft him? And I think, listen, the Chargers got an absolute gem with Joe Alt. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do this season and be able to help protect Justin Herbert under center.
Well, and you know what, Easton Stick, love you, but they need Justin Herbert to start, and they need him to play.
You know what?
Game.
You know what that reminds me of?
Tell
Remember
me.
that James Brown song? Please, please. That's what the Chargers organization is saying to Justin Herbert. Please.
Yes.
And all the football guys.
Fingers crossed. They absolutely need him out there. That is for sure. Okay, so the big question every year, of course, we do this before any balls are snapped or games are played, is your prediction. So let's just look at the three divisions that these teams are in. So we'll start with the Chargers because we're talking about them. They are not the best team in that division.
No.
Kansas City are the reigning Super Bowl champions. Where do the Chargers finish?
I think either 8-9 or 9-8. I think either one. I think when you look at this schedule, obviously that's going to come down to the health of Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert is going to be
Week
key.
1, I'm not concerned. It's week 1. You got 16 other games to deal with. I think if he's not 190 to 100% available or healthy, I should say, don't play him.
Play Easton Stick?
Whoever you have.
Maybe Jim Harbaugh can play in that game.
Maybe they're going to get somebody from El Camino College. I don't know. But again, you don't rush your franchise quarterback. If he's not healthy,
just wait.
You still got 16 other games that you're going to be able, because teams are going to lose. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are not going undefeated, okay? So they're going to lose games.
Herbert is out of the boot. So I'm just saying.
That's a plus. I mean, that's a plus. But again,
you
need him to be 90 to 100% healthy in order for him to start.
For the rest of the time. Yeah. The Los Angeles Rams, are they at the top of that division?
No. I think it is up for grabs. I think they have a great opportunity to go after it, especially with the San Francisco 49ers, because I do believe it's a two-team race. I'm not going to count out Seattle's defense. I think Seattle has a defense that goes under the radar. I'm not positive about their offense per se, but I do like their defense. I think their defense is going to surprise some people this season. But overall, I have to look at two teams. Obviously, Arizona. We're not even mentioning Arizona. I love Marvin Harrison Jr., but I'm not even mentioning Arizona.
It's not
amateur hour at the Apollo.
Yeah, no.
So I'm looking at two teams. I'm looking at the Niners and I'm looking at the Rams, and I'm seeing how the Niners are going to bounce back from that Super Bowl loss.
Will they have the hangover is my question.
No.
Even though they lost that game, they lost it in a bad way.
No, I don't think they will. I think it's a new season. I think Kyle Shanahan does a great job of getting guys prepared. I know this Brandon Ayuk situation has been a very big distraction, but I do think if they don't end up trading Brandon Ayuk, which I don't think they will, I think Brandon Ayuk will be in there. Yeah, he'll be in camp, and I think he's going to be a threat with Debo and Christian McCaffrey, who is an absolute flat-out threat.
McCaffrey never stays healthy for the whole season.
Doesn't need to. He's Christian McCaffrey. All you need him for is 15 games and then get to the playoffs. That's all you need him for.
I want him for every game. I'm selfish that way.
You're greedy.
I'm selfish that way.
Dang, Maria, you are greedy.
I want him for every game.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so I got the Rams at 10-7 though this year.
And I think the Rams will actually be at the top of that division. I do. I think they're going to get past San Francisco, and maybe Jimmy G will give them some insights into.
Have you been playing Madden or something?
You know what?
Because that sounds like a Madden season.
I'm just saying.
I don't know about reality, but maybe in Madden.
Let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys, who are sitting right in front of us here. This is a topic of conversation. I know your thoughts on this. He's the Mike Trout of the Philadelphia Eagles fan club.
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of any team. Let's clear that up right now.
That's true.
Let's clear that down. Don't say how you out here just misinforming the people.
I stuck up for you. I think it's going to be also a two-team race at the top. It always is.
Yeah, I think it's between the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles win the division. And the reason why I say that is because I think they have everybody in camp that they need. I think they have everybody that they need in camp. I mean, unlike this particular camp, I don't see number 88 out there, but that's just me. Maybe my eyes have deceived me. But and when you look at just the schemes of what they do, and I'm not saying that both teams are going to just break out of the gate. I think they're going to be very competitive. We went through the schedule off the camera, and I looked at some of the scheduling when it comes to the Eagles. I looked at the scheduling at the Cowboys. I think there are going to be some stretches where we're going to see the Cowboys go through a winning streak. I think there are going to be stretches where you think the Eagles are going to go through a winning streak because of the schedule. But I also think that when these two teams come head-to-head twice this season, it's going to come down to a battle. And I think that's the thing that it's going to come down to. Who has the most heart, who's going to be the healthiest, and who's going to be the sharpest, especially in the month of December. That's what I think this division is going to come down to.
You know what? Injuries, health is always such a huge factor in football. So you're right. Come December, we'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be a crucial month for these two teams because they're going to be beat up, they're going to be bruised, and it's going to come down to, is it going to be Dak Prescott? Is Dak Prescott going to be able to step up, or is it going to be the Philadelphia Eagles?
Actually, before we go, we want to bring you some sights and sounds from training camp. So let's take a look.
That competitive edge. I mean, it's almost like it feels like a game to me, in a lot of ways. Like you're going to get somebody. My adrenaline is extremely high. I have a penchant to want to come out and perform to my best. It's just one of those things where you kind of get to see tempers flare. Like you kind of get. You gotta get hot-blooded because this is our field. This is where we practice every day. They're coming out here and we're trying to compete, but it may not be any points on the board, but it still matters to us to go out and show our standard and be who we are.
Man, he's a dog, man. Great kid, humble. He's gonna do some good things this year.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming on today, sharing your insights, and for going camping with me. This has been a very busy 3 weeks.
Hey, listen, another camp in the books. It's been nothing but my pleasure. I appreciate you having me on, and it's been fun. I'm so looking forward to the regular season. I'm ready. I'm ready for the regular season for the NFL. I'm ready for college football season to crack off.
Right.
I've been playing a lot of college football, 25, right?
I know that. I know.
I'm in season mode now, so what can I say? I'm ready for it.
Yeah, if you want more information about Nick Hamilton and everything he does, go to Nightcast Media. And if you want to watch Playing the Field, you can do that 24/7 at playingthefieldtv.com. That will do it from Dallas Cowboy Training Camp. I'm Maria Serrao.
Along with Nick Hamilton.
We'll see you next time.